live. I see.
You can see it now, right?
Yep, we're live.
You can see it right now?
Yep. It says live on the corner of my
Oh, okay.
screen.
Yeah,
YouTube live.
yeah. Yes. Or, okay, see. Now
We're live. I see.
You can see it now, right?
Yep.
Oh, wait.
We're live. Yeah, turn off YouTube. If
you can see it right now?
Yep. It says live on the corner. Yeah, I'm just hearing the feedback from the from YouTube. If you just turn down the volume on YouTube.
Yeah, I turned off the. All right. We're getting our lives together here. Sorry. For me, I'm getting my life together.
People pay me to do it, so I have to know.
That's true.
So, it's imperative for me to know.
Okay. All right, Fela, nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
This is basically like it's like my talk show, I guess. Have guests come and it's like a virtual talk show. I'm just interested. I think I'm just genuinely curious about people. So
all right.
I wanted to start just exploring and especially while we're here in quarantine anyway, we might
yeah
to know each other.
Yeah, we're getting into like semi-quarantine. It's not as bad as March and April, but yeah.
This is very true. Thank God we're past that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were able to open because the studio. So.
And when were you able to open your studio?
June 22nd.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, even before that. Okay, so really quick, I know Fela, so that's why we're talking like that. Like I already I know Fela, but people who are going to be watching this later, they may not know you. So Fela, why don't you introduce yourself? Give your pitch to the people.
Oh, okay. I'm Fela. I'm co-owner of One of One Production Studio. Mostly we're a podcast studio, but we also do a little music out of here as well. We've been going for about a year and a half, and as we were speaking about earlier, we were able to open back up the studio on June 22nd, and it's been a big wave of podcasts since the whole pandemic has happened, and business is doing very well. So we're just growing it more and more. A little bit more about my background. I'm an audio engineer by trade, so that's why this was a no-brainer to get into. I've had my own podcast with my business partner for 4 years. It's called The Art of Music Tech, and it's on all the major platforms: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple. And we talk about all things audio production and business as well. So yeah, we've been doing that for 4 years, and that started out of my business partner's apartment, and now we've graduated to having our own studio dedicated to it, and we're helping people, real estate people, doctors, lawyers. For me, I think everybody should have a podcast.
Why?
Yeah, because
everybody have a podcast.
Because
this is it. Like I kind of like this. I like this platform. To me, I like being able to see people. I like people being able to see me. I mean, I'm also, I like podcasts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that everyone should have a podcast?
If you think that you're really good at what you do, or if you have a special interest in handbags or shoes or something like that, you have something to say about it. You have great information that a lot of people don't know about that particular thing. And people are always Googling, what about this, that, and the other. And if you're the face that pops up, you never know where that one set of eyes could change your life. So For me, that's what happened for me. I mean, I was just a run-of-the-mill audio engineer until I just started talking about the knowledge that I did have, and it separated me from the rest of the pack. When it's just so many audio engineers. But yeah, that put me on the scene. And actually, one of my biggest gigs I got, ended up touring the world as a front of house audio engineer, which that means I mix for concerts. My boss, Christian McBride, 6-time Grammy Award winner, found me on LinkedIn. So if I hadn't have put myself out there and people could find me, then I would have had to just wait on, people at a club that I'm going to pay $50 a night to mix at or something. Cause I'm also in Fort Lee, New Jersey. So we're right outside of Manhattan, right over the GW Bridge. We're very easy to get to in this tri-state area. So yeah, I've been working as an audio engineer between concerts and doing some live recordings, and now bringing that knowledge to the studio.
Yeah. And so when you said that you were found on LinkedIn, was it you put a link of your podcast? Like, what would you posting?
Yeah, I would. Well, not my podcast, because that wasn't going yet. Because podcasting 8 years ago, people don't really realize this, is that it was very expensive to do a podcast, because you had to pay for like server space and stuff like that. So it was hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month to do a podcast. And only in the past like 6-7 years that things like Lisbon and Stitcher and Anchor and Podbean and all these type of publishing platforms that are only like $15-20 a month came along, and then it made it affordable for anybody to do. But with that whole LinkedIn situation, LinkedIn didn't start letting you put audio or video on your pages until a few years ago. So as soon as I saw that they let you do that, I just started really putting as much content as possible. Then I noticed that in the analytics for LinkedIn, the more content that you posted, the higher they ranked you. Now, they don't do that ranking system no more, but literally they would have like 1, 2, 3, 4. It wasn't like a random, it was like, oh, the more content that this person did under this thing that you say that, that you're in, which for me was audio engineering, it puts you at the top. So I noticed that none of the other engineers were really putting up pictures or really showing what they did, or, you couldn't hear their mixes. So I just started recording my mixes, taking my mixes home, touching them up a little bit. And these are just 2-track recordings. And I just started posting, and it was fun for me. And it showed what I did. I didn't just have to go by word of mouth, which what I do is very much based on word of mouth. And I'm not native to this industry. Like, my parents aren't in it. I don't have an uncle that's a A&R guy. Like, I have none of that, no connection. Yep. And so I just had to think about how I was going to get around that. And it was like, well, what if I just post and do what they're not doing? Like, a lot of those engineers were getting word of mouth, gigs from other engineers. I knew that wasn't going to happen for me. So I had to think of something else. And I just decided to take over this white space that nobody else was really digging on, except for the really major audio engineers that were doing the Beyoncés and stuff like that. And I was like, why not model myself after somebody that's at that height? Then, go for that, instead of like, oh no, I'm not going to try this and da 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 da. So,
yeah. When you mention white space, you're saying like negative space, or you're talking about like?
No, like a white space. You can name it whatever you want to. Like, there's no ceiling to it yet. There's nobody there to tell you what to do. It's just white. I can create, which
like a clean slate, and
it's a clean slate, and nobody's gonna judge because nobody's doing it. So I like those spaces of just like, wow, I don't have to, be under the status quo, because I'm never gonna be that. So I have to figure out another way to do it.
Yeah. You made your own table.
Yeah,
Instead of
basically.
being invited, instead of waiting to be invited, you made your own table.
Yes.
I mean, and you made, and the thing is, like, what's genius about it is that you didn't like try to invent the wheel. You just used the tools that were out there that were available.
Exactly. I hopped on it as soon as those tools became available.
Yeah.
I hopped on it. It was like, oh, you can now do this. Oh, I'm gonna start posting. I'm gonna start doing what nobody else is doing. People have caught up now, but I mean, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, that one set of eyes, now I've been around the world. I've been to Asia, Africa, Europe, and now I have friends all around the world from that,
Yeah.
from,
From that.
putting myself out there.
Yeah. And would you say that there are like a lot of Black women in your industry, or what does that landscape look like?
No, not really. It's a few of us that's really doing it. A matter of fact, Amanda Davis, no relation to me, but she's out of Memphis. Um, she got her breakout through my goodness. You'll know the artist. She's a Black woman too.
I don't know everybody.
Man, no. She's like really big. She was in a movie called Antebellum that just came out. It's kind of a Black horror.
Monet.
Janelle Monáe, exactly. Janelle Monáe said, look, I want a Black woman engineer, and just find it, and told her stage manager. And it just so happened that the stage manager went to school with Amanda Davis, and that was how she got the gig. And I mean, she's been around the world too, and mixed for the president, and I mean, like 7 different times, and a bunch of great stuff. So it's a game. You just have to be out there to be seen, but it's very hard to be seen because, of course, the people that are used to being in those positions, they want to hire their friends. And I'm cool with that too, because I want to I hire my friends too now. So
Yeah.
so I don't, I'm not gonna trip about that.
Yes, no, I think that's a good point. That's a big good point that you make, is that you start working with, and the thing is, it becomes like homogenous after a while. Like, it's just like, I'm just gonna pull from what I know. And that's where, now we're in this this post, well, not post, but we're in this COVID world. And now we have to reimagine our spaces. Now we have to reimagine, we have to actually reach out. It's not going to just come to us. It's not going to just, especially when we were in shutdown mode, we couldn't go anywhere, right? It's not like I could go to a networking event, like physically go to a networking event, right? So, or physically go to a concert, or physically go to a open mic. I couldn't physically do it. So what did people do? They reimagined it. So now, okay, well, I can't go to an open mic, but I have my cell phone and I got an Instagram account. Let me start just strumming my guitar, playing my trombone, right, Fela?
Yeah. I mean, just do what you feel creatively works for you, basically. Right. That's all. Yeah.
But now look what that has done for us, is that we have now opened ourselves up to even more people. Like, even more people can see you. And the fact that you even put yourself out there, that is how you allowed this opportunity with Christian McBride and others to take you to places that you didn't even imagine you'd be, probably, right?
Yeah, that it was the hope. I just wasn't sure how I would do it. And yeah, the internet just made it creatively easier to get around the middleman. Now I can get to the client without, some other company being in between. And now I've created my own company. So,
yes,
yeah.
Yep. And once again, this is Fela Davis. She owns, or co-owns,
Uh-huh.
One Productions. They are a multimedia. They are a multimedia production company. So they do video, audio.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
they'll sound mix for you. They'll, you know,
Yeah.
musicians or fitness professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
Everything. Yeah.
for everybody, and the rise in these podcasts, I'm like overwhelmed, to be honest. Like, I don't even know where to begin, but like you said, you know it's something that you encourage for people
Yeah.
to really get into.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And if
I
podcast
mean,
is into your thing, still do the things, do all the things.
I
And
I
I
think you still have to get out if you feel like you're a master at what you're doing. Like if you feel like you have some knowledge and some bits to put out there. I mean, even if you're just getting started, kind of documenting the way through. I think you just have to put yourself out there as much as you can for people to understand who you are. If you're not feeling like you're getting where you want to. I never felt like I was getting what I wanted, just doing it the regular way.
mm,
Like this for me is the most comfortable way. I mean, before I even started this, I was in my business for 12 years, but this is, I guess I've gotten knowledge too, I've grown as well, but wow, this is just so much better. I feel so much more in control. Um, and so I'm never down. Like I used to, like when I think about when I felt down or getting a tinge of like kind of depression, it was like, oh, because I wasn't fulfilling something that somebody else thought I should have been doing.
yeah,
But now I just do it on my own and I feel great about it. And
yeah,
people appreciate it as an owner now. Um, so it just changed my life in so many different ways. That I just love being like a more of an owner than just like the worker. Because I just never felt appreciated as the worker. So
yeah. And what is your background? Like, how did you get to where, like, what's your education? Did you study
okay.
audio engineering? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. To go even further back, how wanted to become an audio engineer in the first place. I'm from this very small town in South Carolina called Sherraw. The hometown of Dizzy Gillespie is our our big claim to fame. Um, and I played trombone from like sixth grade until I graduated high school. But I realized I didn't want to do that as a career, but I did want to stay around music. But I didn't really know what that was. But I knew I wanted to do something creative. But in the eighth grade, I took a career placement test and it said audio engineer. And I was like, wow, that's such a, I never thought about that, or like, what is, and then I started doing my own research and I was like, okay, I think this is something I would like because, you deal with all the instruments, you get it to sound how you want it to sound, or the producer or whatever. But, it's like, oh, it's the putting together of everything, not just your one part as a musician person. I mean, and even though as a musician, you're playing as a one thing. That's the goal anyway when you're playing music, is that you meld into one, but to help that out technically as well. That was it. And so yeah, I was like 12 or 13 then, and I was reading as many books as I could. And then, the internet and in like, late 90s, early 2000s was just not what it is now. So it's just, I was reading the same information over and over, and you couldn't reach out to the engineers like you can now. Like you can get to any engineer you want now via either LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, like, and they'll answer.
Yeah.
It was so far away, and I'm in South Carolina, and we didn't even have an arts program. Like we didn't have anything. And all the most arts we had was a band. That was the art, and that was it. And then you marched on the field during football game, after. So it was that was the extent of it. But I knew it was so much more I wanted to explore. And in the 10th grade, I found out about Full Sail University. And I went there for a visit, and it was game over. I mean, I saw that Neve board and everybody into what they were doing. It was just like,
boy,
my people, to come from a small town where, I mean, there wasn't even record stores. I mean, it was just like Walmart, which Walmart, the explicit versions of stuff, it was.
How are y'all the home of Dizzy? Y'all don't got a record store?
Exactly. Yeah, it was
that's so weird.
Yeah, you had to go like an hour away to like get that kind of thing, that kind of culture or something, that.
Interesting to me.
Yeah, so moving Full Sail is in Winter Park, Florida, a suburb of Orlando. Yes, so I mean, it opened me up once I went there. I finally heard Fela Kuti. Didn't even hear his music until I got to Florida, because that's how hard it was. You couldn't just download. There was no
right, yeah.
And his stuff was like imports from Paris. Like, I don't know, people don't really remember that. Like his stuff was expensive to get to, and it didn't even hit here. So I really got my mind open to more music, and just like, that was it. I've been in it ever since, like around music and mixing and doing whatever I could to stay in the business. And then actually this past March, I ended up getting inducted into the Full Sail Hall of Fame this year. So yeah, that was special.
For acknowledging my girl.
Yes.
After all these years.
What is that? 18 years later. Yeah.
18 years. Well, better late, I guess. I took the Full Sail, and
yeah,
it is one of the top. If you're doing anything audio engineer, yes, they are one of the top.
Yeah.
In probably the world, but definitely in the country for sure.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was a great honor.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, so so I wanted to just we don't have to, we could wrap this up, but I wanted to be able to thank you, and to really, I wanted to share you with the world, because last time when we spoke, I was just, I was fired up, because you are such an inspiration, like, how you have built yourself up.
Thank you.
I'm not into like, oh, you're self-made and all that stuff, but I am into like, people who they understand that the rules are, there are no rules.
Yeah. I love going to the places with no rules, because nobody's there yet. So I'm and podcasting, that's where we're at in this. It's like no real rules yet. Nobody's just been doing it for 35 years. It's just like awesome. I love it. It's just like something new is happening in it every day.
Yes. So your production company is located in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Yes. Check us out. One of One Productions in Fort Lee, New Jersey. We have a nice 2-room place that makes everybody feel comfortable. And we're also beginning to rent equipment and sell equipment. So please reach out to us through oneofoneproductions.com, and that's spelled out ONE. So oneofoneproductions.com. Reach out to us if you have any questions about, starting a podcast and stuff like that. We got some good information on there as well. But our next move is to really start pushing the premium stuff that we use, that we've tried and tested, and it's been out with us all over the place. And hey, even if you're like, going from New York to LA and don't want to bring your equipment, we can ship that. We could ship out some premium gear for you, and that's the next move in what we're doing.
Right there. That's clutch right there. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I've been there as in photography, like and having to travel in photography, and like you don't want to bring any of that stuff like with so to have
Yeah.
that clutch to have people a production company that is going to ship it out to you. So all you have to do is show up to whatever your hotel, your Airbnb, whatever you're gonna do your production, and it's gonna be it's gonna be sent out to you.
Yep.
That's clutch. Um, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
that's
if you what's your favorite piece of equipment right now? What would you say is like your favorite piece? Like I love this.
oh, well, in the studio, we use Lewitt microphones, and we ship those out as well. But this particular microphone I'm on right now is a tube microphone. So it glows at you. It actually has a literal tube inside of it, and it's just
Okay.
nice and warm sounding, and yeah.
Oh, it is very warm sounding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're also providing people, with like you that stream and stuff like that, like a solo system. We're endorsed by Focusrite, and we that's what we sell, and what we rent out as well. Focusrite interfaces. That's the thing between the microphone and your laptop, is a box that has to do all the converting. So Focusrite is one of the main podcast things, like everybody is using it, but we've been endorsing it like 5 years or so. Even in the music world, we have their pro stuff as well that I would take out to multi-track record for Christian McBride, like high definition audio. So it'll go to like 192K 24-bit. I know that's all technical, but if you know about that, like that's the most pristine audio that you could possibly have right now. But yeah, we use all of their stuff, from their highest stuff to the stuff that that we're sending out. And actually on this, we're using I'm using a 2-channel Focusrite, their latest 3rd generation uh
Yeah.
interface. And yeah, it's so smooth. It makes you look good and, well, sound good. And then I'm using a 4K camera on this, and that's what we have in-house that we'll use for people in their live stream. So
Okay. What would you like recommend someone like me? I'm in the fitness world right now, and
yeah.
what would you recommend? Would you recommend someone like, first of all, should I get a podcast, Fela?
Yes.
All right.
You're Coach Mel.
I'm
You're
coaching.
coaching people
That's
to you are coaching people to their best life. So I'm sure you have some things to say.
the thing. It's more like I have things to show, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I see where you're going, and I feel you.
I mean, even if it's like that 5 or 10 minute, thing, but those little gems can like change people's lives. And like I said, change your life. So you
Yeah.
just never know who's looking, and just, put it out there, and it doesn't even matter. My thing is, like, I don't care about having 10,000 viewers. Like, I've never had that kind of following, even though the following has come
Yeah.
lately after I started like getting out there and like being in magazines and stuff like that. Oh yeah, shout out to Pro Sound magazine. I'm writing for them as well. So I get a lot more people following me now. But that one set of eyes, which was Christian McBride, I mean, I probably had 200 people, and that was all people I knew. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that information and that content pushed me towards the top of the heap with something like LinkedIn.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Or even YouTube is, being owned by Google. I mean, Google is the #1 search engine in our country. It's like, why not be, when somebody looks up fitness New Jersey, like if your face didn't pop up, then it's a problem. It should be, that's always been like the levels that I wanted to take what I'm doing. Like, okay, when you look up this thing, I want to be in the conversation, you
Yeah.
know. So it's really just pushing it towards that and seeing what's the next thing on the horizon, and not ignoring it until it's this monster. just like when you see it coming slightly, it's like, I mean, just in case, let me put something on it. Let me put a couple videos here, da da da, and you never know.
And what do you see on what's in the horizon? What do you predict is on the horizon?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've been, thank goodness I saw the podcast thing come in like, 6-7 years ago. I knew that and where it's at now is still the baby stages.
Yeah.
Like, so, I'm about pushing maybe more studios, really pushing more of the gear, because nobody really knows what to have, and being the authority on that. Like, when you really want to know what you need, check out my website, and we'll teach you how to do it. We'll have videos set up for you, so that you can see how to hook it up to what you have, and that sort of thing. Just being the authority. And now I'm even like getting in other people who do like master classes. Celeste Headley, I'm speaking with her about bringing in her master class on interviewing. Like, she's on a show on NPR. I forget the name at the time, but now she also trains NPR, people on how to be online. So, partnering up with people like that, if you're like, how do I do a good interview? I got a person that is a master interviewer that will show you how to do that. Yeah. So I just want to take it over in that way. When people have questions, just check us out. Yep. We'll show you the people
from one of one.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say 1-to-1.
Yeah, one of one.
There's probably a 1-to-1 already.
Yeah.
So we're not going to confuse you with that. It's
yeah.
1.
And they can see it behind me.
Beautiful HD screen behind her. And would you want to like coach a younger generation, or like would you want to teach, or like where
I'm not sure like how that's gonna go. I mean, now I just started kind of the writing thing with Pro Sound, but I mean, I've always kind of done it on my own and like kind of created.
Always instructed tutorials and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, really just wanting to make it as easy as possible and not having to go to so many different sites. It's like, hey, if you just could find everything in one site and be known, and kind of in this arena is where I'm pushing for next. And really with the rentals and sales, pushing that as well, that you can have great audio and do your thing and not have to worry about. That should be the easiest thing about the situation. So yeah, being the authority on having great production for your podcast is where I'm at now, and what I want to grow, because there's nobody really in that space. So I'm like, wow, yeah, let's spread our wings and go at this. So, thank you for having me on, for being able to spread, more about this, and making it not so daunting for people when they think about doing this, when it really shouldn't be. It should be fun. It's like you're just getting to spread your knowledge, and it's just being recorded. Yeah. It's stuff that you're like, I say this all the time. Okay, now you get to put it on there, and more people can listen to it all around the world. You can change people's lives, instead of, other people changing your life too, from seeing your information. You could change people's lives as well. Yeah. And, them feeling inspired by what you do. I get that a lot too. Like, oh, wow. After hearing your story, it's just like, yeah, it's like, all right, well then get after it. Let's go, get to work. I'm glad I inspired you, but let's please get to work. Let's partner up on a business. Let's continue this then. Yes. That's where I want to take it forever. I think I'll probably be more of an serial entrepreneur. Yes. Is what this really pushed me towards too, is just like, oh, I like having that ownership and, having a say and just putting it out there.
Yes. And one thing you said to me last week that I clung to, or I really really resonated, was do it dirty. Like it doesn't have to be clean.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
do
sorry,
it
I
ugly,
said
really.
do it ugly.
It doesn't have to be slick.
It doesn't have to be slick. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's
Yeah,
my default, right? That's my default. Is like, no, it has to be. It's got to be like, listen. Like right now, I'm looking at your quality versus my quality, and it's like back of my mind. I'm like, this, like the perfectionist is dying right now.
uh,
But but I keep remembering what you said. Like, just do it ugly. Put it out there, and eventually, like, that's what people should see
yeah,
is the message, like beyond the facade and the pretty and the slick. Are they getting the message? And that's the
yeah,
message for today. Is one for one, like, you should, everyone, number one, everyone should get a podcast. Two, two, everyone should go to one of
one
one
of one.
one of one productions um if you want highly professional, but they are also accessible. Like they make it accessible for you. They make it not so scary, and they make it, like this is not as complicated as you think it's going to be. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
and make
and
you sound well.
I guess I should also I should get into what we do in our studio as well. We record your podcast, and if you don't want to edit, we do that as well.
Oh,
We can do your vodcast like we're doing right now. We stream, high definition and all of that kind of thing. So it's like if you do want the slick, we can do that. But
yes.
I'm just saying, if you're like, I don't know where to start, like start in where in your apartment and go from there. And
Yes.
if this is, this be the goal, of course, because I mean, then it's more, it's a good look for more clientele and people seeing a certain,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do agree, but you also just got to start where you're at. And and that's what I did with the whole LinkedIn thing. It was not my best recordings compared to now. It's kind of like, but I still have that up. I didn't take it down. It's just like,
That's where you began.
see, yes, see where it went from to
Yeah.
where it is now.
Exactly.
You
So everyone can be, inspired by that too. And that, and what, and this, even like, even talking now, I mean, we spoke already, but even speaking now, I'm already getting like, oh, so I can actually not have to worry about my own, like she can set it up for me and it's gonna look good. And like, and she's, she's behind the scenes and she's making things nice and clean. She's got the closed captioning. Like I'm already like, I'm already
yeah,
ahead, because when I say the closed captioning is like, eventually I want to have I want to have sessions where I can have closed captioning. I can have,
yeah,
I can make it accessible to the hearing impaired, because yes, they want
definitely.
to work out too, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm already thinking like the wheels are already turning. So that's why, I mean, initially I was like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing these interviews? Like, what's the point? I'm like, well, I'm curious. Number one, but
Yeah.
like, you just never know. You never know what is going to spark in the conversation. And speaking with someone like you, who's fired up. That's even better. Like I got to, I got to speak with someone who fires me up.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I do that.
No, last week we were like hooting and hollering and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Hudson Connections, who
Yeah.
we found each other through, which, I'm big on, like chamber. I'm a member of the Fort Lee Chamber of Commerce. I'm actually on the board there. Hudson Connections, just meeting up with other small business owners like yourself.
Yep.
I mean, it's been amazing to like get your feedbacks and how how our services could help your services. And it's just been great. It's just been, in the last couple of years going that route. I had never really networked like that I've always networked with other engineers, and then like AES, which is the Audio Engineering Society. I've always networked that way, but now getting to work with small business owners and one man shops and stuff like that. I mean, we get it because we're there as well, as our studio, but being able to help people like you guys out has been a game changer, and it just feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music industry can be a little jaded, very jaded. I like, hey, I can get one of you 2 times over, it's just like, oh, okay. But, in this kind of networking, it's
Yeah.
just been so much more of a, oh, come on in. And, it's in a much better look and a feeling. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, shouts out to Hudson Connections. Shouts
yeah,
out to
we'll have
our
to repost this.
I will.
We'll post
Oh, you, girl, please.
definitely.
Oh wait, I didn't. Well, yes, we're definitely repurposing it. And it will be, I'm gonna share it on my. I'll share it on my platform,
Oh, me as well.
and I'm tagging everybody that I can
Hmm.
tag. I'm gonna tag all the your sponsor that you mentioned. Please let me know. I'll tag them in the description box. And
Okay.
um not for anything, but like this world is different now. It's completely different. We can now imagine this world to be different. And if we can start including, spaces that we wouldn't even dream of. Like I would never have, I just never would have thought. Like, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't like the sound of my voice. Why would I want a podcast? You know what I mean? Like what, but now that it's opened up to me, like, it's now it's you don't know like what's possible. Like you could, without just opening yourselves up to
Yeah.
the world. Like open yourself up to the world. Don't be, you know,
Yeah.
try not to be so afraid of it and afraid of other people and other people who don't look like you and all that. Like,
Yeah.
so just I'm going to continue these conversations,
Fantastic.
and eventually I will do the podcast.
We'll at least have to hook you up with a microphone now. We gotta get you.
I need
We gotta hook you up with a streaming package on the
I need
audio. Yeah.
I like that idea. I love your sound, right? Like you're so right. It's like it's definitely like it's a warm sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
shout
So
out, I want to shout out my T-shirt. Like this is a black.
I love this. Let's go.
So it's actually I love this tee so much. I left my pants at home. So it actually becomes a dress. This is actually message in a bottle. Black owned business owner.
All right.
So
Shout out.
yes, shout out to black owned businesses, and so I'm gonna tag her too.
All right. Please do.
She's gonna need a podcast, and
Exactly.
everybody's gonna need to get a podcast through one.
Hey, even if you want to do it at your house, then fine. We'll hook you up with a house setup. Let's go. Like reach out to us, and we can't wait to work, with more of you that's out here in this small business world.
LFG. Let's effing go.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for your time. It's like we could probably talk for hours.
I know. Exactly.
We'll talk for hours, but I know you have a full plate. But I appreciate you including me in your busy schedule, and we will definitely be in touch.
Yes.
I will definitely be leveling up.
All right.
I gotta level up. I gotta level this up. This is cute. This is nice and cute, but
So you got to start somewhere, but you grow out of that. This is the seed to the tree.
All right, Miss Fela, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. This was awesome. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. I'm gonna end the pod.